Welcome back. So working on this setup some more. I actually couldn't get my PC to post. So not even a problem with booting up, but a problem with getting to the BIOS even. Nothing would show up on the monitor. So after a lot of troubleshooting, I tried a few different things. You'll notice the first thing is that I have a different graphics card in here. This is my old graphics card, a GTX 970. I do have the 3080 Ti, but I took that out for now just to make sure that's not a problem, getting the HDMI to connect to the BIOS. Other thing here is I've taken out the watch battery to reset the BIOS configurations. I noticed that sometimes I can get to BIOS after fixing another issue, and then other times it doesn't work, so I end up having to reset this. But ultimately, the major issue was I wasn't seeing these lights here on the bottom corner. You can't really see them here, but once I boot up, you'll see them. The status lights that tell you that you have your CPU is working, your GPU is working, and it's trying to boot up. So those lights weren't even lighting up. And long story short, it's because I read in the instructions something about when you're powering your motherboard, you don't need to use both connectors. So I thought I only needed this one. But it was actually talking about the CPU connectors on this side. So I had a part of the troubleshooting, I had to take my radiator out, so it's not actually bolted in right now. Very tight fit there with the RAM, by the way. But if I move this around slightly, there we go. You can see another power cable right here. Notice there's a slot that's not filled. That's what they're talking about. You don't need that last one, but you do need this one that is plugged in here, the CPU power. So without that, I would get lights on my motherboard, but not the status lights. So that was the main issue, and really annoying, really dumb, but that's been resolved. So now I'm working on trying to get this thing to boot up to a Windows 11 installation disk. I'm gonna put this back in for the BIOS. And I used a USB CD drive or DVD drive, and it does recognize it, and it has a Windows 11 installation on it. It has a Windows disk inside of it, but it doesn't boot from that. So instead of USB here, just plug in USB with a bootable Windows 11 installation on it, okay? Let me power this up. All right, like I said, if I can't get to the BIOS like the first time, I end up having to reset it again. So I'm gonna spam this keyboard to try to get it to go to BIOS. But first, I'll power it up. You'll see it always lit up here. These things always lit up. That wasn't a problem. But now you'll also see the status lights are gonna light up when I hit the power. So let me do that. See yellow, I think that's probably CPU check. And then GPU. I forget what this one is. Maybe this is the keyboard or something. So we're back, it looks like, to CPU. GPU again. All right, so now it's green. It's saying it should be booted up. But if we look at the monitor, it's black screen. I'm spamming the keyboard here, F2, F8, deletes. It just does not want to post. It doesn't want to go to the BIOS. So I was able to get through this at least once. Not sure what's going on now, but I'm going to keep troubleshooting until I get back to the BIOS, and then I'll show you the next step for getting it to actually load in the Windows 11. So just a second. Okay, so I literally powered it off, and then I just spammed the keyboard when I powered it back on, and it did go to the screen. So you'll notice here it recognizes a couple things. The USB disk, that's what we're gonna boot from, the M.2 SSD, and the SATA hard drive. So both of these are empty, so those are not bootable. So how do you get there, right? So if I go press F1 to run setup, it will take me to this BIOS setup here. If I go to boot, you'll see the disk, and I can just click this, and that will actually boot to the USB. I did the same thing with the DVD, and it just ended up restarting. Doesn't actually work, so I guess that's not a bootable disk. All right, so let's walk through the setup here. I've never tried Windows 11. Apparently it's pretty buggy, so we'll see how it goes. Also, a note, you do need something called a TPM. I forget what that stands for. It's somewhere on this motherboard. I saw it before, it's labeled. I don't know exactly where it is, but it's a special security chip or something in order to run Windows 11. So now it wants me to activate. So good thing, you know, I actually bought a disc. And so with that comes an activation key. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. All right, so here's what the key is gonna look like. It now has a scratch off. So you guys can't see the entire key. I'm also cutting off the end there, but I have to scratch off to get the full product key. All right, looks like I got an error here. PC doesn't meet the minimum system requirements to install the version of Windows. For more information, visit that link. Looks like it's because BIOS needs to be changed to allow secure boot or UEFI or whatever. So I'm gonna go here, UEFI firmware settings. It tells you you need to restart in order to get to this. Really, you need to go back to your BIOS, so I'm gonna do that. I probably could have did this more systematically, but I just went ahead and I changed everything TPM or secure boot, UEFI related stuff. So like, for example, boot device control, boot from network device, boot from storage device, boot from PCI, all of those I changed from legacy to UEFI only. I think that's probably the key. OS type, there's also this thing here, and it says in the BIOS, there's some information about it, and says, you know, for secure Windows boot, whatever, you need it on this mode, and it wasn't, so I changed that. Legacy USB support, I put that to auto. I don't think that one actually matters. Fast boot, I went ahead and just disabled it for now because I'm having trouble getting into the BIOS. I don't know if that's anything to do with it. It's really annoying getting back into the BIOS every time. And then TPM 2.0, I went ahead and I changed it 1.2 instead, an older version, but I'm actually gonna change that back. Let me do that. All right, so hopefully it's one of those settings. I'm gonna go ahead and reset and we'll see if it can load the Windows installation again. All right, I think I got farther this time. So let's see, upgrade Windows, no, custom install. There we go. All right, so I got 2 disks in here, both 2 terabytes about. It doesn't say which one's which. Which one is M.2? Oh no, that's gonna be a problem. I can just pick one. Install is started. Okay, I think it finished installing. Went back to BIOS, looked at it, and there was a new boot drive. So I click that, and I think that's what it's doing. Getting ready. Just a moment. Okay, there we go. Welcome to Windows 11. Nice new UI. Do I want a second keyboard layout? No, I'm good. Thanks. All right, let me connect to my Wi-Fi. Okay, now it's gonna look for updates. Who knows how long this takes. All right, wants me to name this. We'll call it Randroid. A couple more questions for setup here. I like the UI. We can sign in later, right? No, it looks like I gotta do it now. Okay, I'm logged in. A couple more settings here. Just go with the defaults for now, whatever. Gaming, play and discover games. So I don't know what this is all about, but hey, let's choose it. Business. Back up your files with OneDrive. Only save files to PC for now. No thanks. So how many of you guys have tried out Windows 11? What do you think? Ooh, hi. Hello. Got no speakers set in right now, but there's probably some sound effects or something to this. Okay, well, it's doing something. So next steps here will be obviously replacing the graphics card with the new one. Should be pretty easy. Get that back in there. Bolt in the radiator. Figure out why this fan's not working. It's probably just unplugged. Here we go. Almost there. Okay, we're loaded in. I do like that they centered this now. I mean, this is probably the first time they've ever not had the start menu on the left. Very cool. Download Armory Crate app. Would you like to download and install Armory Crate app? Armory Crate is an ASUS service for device configuration, including Aura Sync. Yes, please. So we'll install that. See what the files look like. Pretty much looks like Windows. This is exciting. Okay, so I'll get to the RGB in just a sec, but check this out. So Windows 11 doesn't have the Windows Experience Index anymore, as far as I can tell, but there's another tool called WinArrow WEI tool, which basically does the same thing. So check it out. The bottleneck actually, it says, is the main hard drive, which I can't tell if it's the NVMe or if it's the just the regular SATA, the NAND drive that I have that Windows is installed on. Because remember during the setup, it didn't really tell me which one was which, so I just picked one. But anyways, it says that the data transfer rate is our biggest bottleneck, which is hilarious because this is the desktop graphics 8.8, whereas I have like 5-6-year-old GTX 9670 in here, so I haven't even put the new graphics card in yet. So we'll rerun that once the graphics card's in. But anyways, I wanted to show you that, but also I installed a bunch of stuff. You can see here, Unity, Steam. But for the RGB, first up is NZXT's cam. So that allows me to customize this. So now I'm showing GPU and CPU. Again, only upside down because the case is upside down. But this is red. You might not be able to see it on camera, but I changed these to red. What else did I change here? So it doesn't look like there's any RGB on these fans as far as I can tell. Not too sure. But yeah, you do that through the cam software. Not the best, but it works. Next up, we have Corsair's IQ. So for the case I have, the 4000X, this is what we use for RGB changes. So I can do rainbow, whatever, right? But I like the red, so I went with red. Okay, and this is the module that's on the back. There's only 3 fans right now, but looks like we can get 3 more on there. Interesting. All right. Lastly is this Armory crate. This is what the motherboard uses. So the Strix ROG. So you can do all kinds of effects. So this is strobing, color cycling, rainbow. So this is rainbow, but I chose red. So it's just, which is actually kind of nice. But I like breathing. There's one more. Change the color of the mouse as well. So this one's kind of breathing as well. You can't really see, but it's red. All right, I'm gonna get a new mouse, but for now, that's what I got. Okay, so that's RGB. That's the Windows Index rating. Installs weren't too bad. Downloads are kind of slow right now, but that's fine. Next up, I wanna show you how do I get that second hard drive set up and see how can I check which one is actually being used for the OS. So I went to the disk management and looky-loo, it says this disk must be initialized. So it does see another disk there, but it's not initialized. So I don't know. I'm gonna go with the default. All right, so yeah, if you right click, you'll see that the second drive is actually the PCI SSD, whereas this one, the WDC. So if I look at details, hardware IDs, yeah, it doesn't say anything about NVMe in here. So that's not great. I wanted the default one to be the NVMe. So let me double check this one. The details, hardware IDs. See, this one's NVMe. So I'm gonna see about switching that. Look at all that. Everything's color matched now. Got the power supplies really in there, the new GPUs in there. Nothing you can really see, it's kind of tinted glass, but that's the real GPU there at the bottom. This logo right here, Tough Gaming from Asus. The case's fans, red RGB on them. Top one stopped spinning on me. Also, I got to figure out why this is not getting power even though it's connected. So a couple small tweaks still need to figure out. The ultra wide, right now it's actually playing an in-game cutscene that is not ultra wide. But if I can skip through this, let me see if I can skip it. Graphics look amazing though. Hold to skip. All right. Is it loading? It's loading. Also, I reinstalled Windows, redoing all of the updates and all that so that I could be on my faster NVMe M.2 drive instead of the SATA. So loading should be much faster than it would have been. Can't even fit the whole screen. All right. So it looks like it's still not ultra wide. Interesting. I wonder if it's going to expand because, the mouse does go over here. Oh, it's still in some kind of cutscene, it seems like. This is Age of Empires 4, by the way. Yeah, this is an in-game cutscene. Escape. All right. Whoa, look at that. Is that sick or what? Giant army. All right, well, this thing is rocking and roll. Look how freaking fast it is. I don't know if you guys saw my earlier game stream, but it was not this fast. Can I just attack? Oh, I have to attack from the bottom. Oh, charge. This is sick. These graphics are awesome. Zoom out a bit. Watch the fighting. So that's my final setup. I also have my Mac set up here, so I'll probably get a cable so I can, switch easily between these using my switch. And I'll move this probably off the desk somewhere else. But very nice. Really happy with how it turned out. Let me know if you guys got any questions, any more you want to see on this, let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.